Alright, now that we've seen the WordPress front end, let's dig into the WordPress back end and see how we can start editing our site and making some changes. Let's go through a brief run through of how the WordPress backend looks. Now, your domain, regardless of what it is, if you go to your domain and if it's a WordPress powered site, you'll be able to add WP-admin. So this is WordPress Administration Dashboard. That's what we want to get to. When you hit that, you're going to be brought to this login screen, WordPress login screen. You need to remember your username and password. So when you are setting up your WordPress website, just remember to ensure that you use a strong password, and more importantly, you need to remember your username and password. My own website can be reached similarly. My own domain, VJ domain, can be reached, and you can see that I'm using a very strong password for the reasons that is the most. This needs to be really secure. You just need to take care and ensure that you are able to update the password. Now I have customized my login screen with my own logo. You can opt to do that, but typically this is a simple installation, so it's using the typical WordPress logo there. Now you need to provide your username and password. Now, do realize that this is only installed on my local machine. That's why I've kept the password short. I'd recommend using a very strong password. I'm going to log in, and you'll notice that we'll be redirected. I'm going to log in again. Just provide the correct password, and you'll notice that we've been brought to something known as the dashboard. This is known as the WordPress dashboard. This is the backend. Now, having been brought back to the back end, if you want to, when you're logged in at any time, you can go back to the front end by just clicking on, hovering over WordPress and clicking visit site, or just clicking on WordPress 101. It brings you back to the home page. Clicking on it again will take you back to the dashboard. So that's how you navigate to the back dashboard and front end. If you want to log out at any stage, feel free to hover over your name on the right hand side and just hit log out, right? So this is a quick glance at our dashboard. You'll see that there are a few sections here. The first being this menu on the left hand side. This is your main navigation menu. We will go through this in a second. There's also a toolbar which can provide some additional navigation options. We'll also investigate that in a second. But overall, the dashboard itself contains a few pieces of information. It tells us a bit about our site health status. There's a few things that need to be fixed. At a glance, it tells us that we have 1 post, 7 pages. We are running the 5.6 version of WordPress using the GeneratePress themes. And it also tells me that I've discouraged search engines because this is running on a local install on my laptop. I don't need to allow any search engines to, they won't be able to even reach my site anyway, right? And if there's any activity, it highlights those details here. I'll also notice that there's a screen options and a help tab on the right. Let's have a quick look at these. The screen option tells me that I have hidden certain of these dashboard widgets. I can quickly have a quick draft. This allows you to quickly create a post. I typically don't tend to use it. I prefer to go to new and create a post or a page rather than use this quick draft. Therefore, I've hidden that. I don't like these. These are all the WordPress latest events that are happening. Again, you might want to attend one of these events, in which case you can show those, as well as a typical WordPress welcome screen, which also again provides a way for you to navigate and customize your site or next steps and widgets. Once you've started using WordPress, you'll find that these are distractions, and I typically tend to just hide these away. I tend to keep my site health because if there's any critical issues that I need to fix, I need to notice those. And I also have, like, at a glance how many pages and posts I'm running. Now, but that's about it. So this is my typical dashboard setup. If I need help at any stage on any screen, I can click on that, and you'll notice that there's documentation on dashboard here, right? And there's support on dashboard. There's information on navigation, right? So this left-hand navigation menu, and you can find more of that information here. So they're talking about the different layout options, the content options, and all that. When you go into adding a post or anything like that, you'll notice again that you will continue to see this dashboard change, and you will have more options coming up. You might have additional menu options here. We'll jump into these in a second, but for the moment, just realize that this is a screen where you are going to see your dashboard. And sometimes you'll notice that you won't see this dashboard suddenly disappears. The reason I brought you here is because sometimes you may go, I can't see the dashboard, what happened to it? Because WordPress installations sometimes come up with full screen mode editing. So you will see that the dashboard looks completely different, and you don't have the menu on the left anymore, you don't have the toolbar, and you might feel lost. So the thing to do then is to simply click on the three dots on the right hand side, the options, and just go and check the full screen mode option. Right? I can see my toolbar again, I can see my menu again. Now, in terms of the menu, apart from the main dashboard, you notice that there are some updates. I can fix those updates. We'll run through them in a separate activity. But I can see that the first item under dashboard is posts. Now, these are the news articles, and they are serially arranged, typically arranged in, you can arrange them alphabetically, but typically they are arranged date order with the latest posts at the top. So, so you have posts, and the posts can be categorized using categories or tagged. There are two different hierarchical systems. We will talk about them when we come into posts, when we come to talk about posts themselves. There is a section called media. This is where you typically find all your images and documents that you've uploaded to your WordPress site. They can be maintained through this media page. You've also got your default pages. This is what we think of when we think in terms of a website. These are all the pages that include things like your about page, your home page, your contact us page, your privacy links. Yeah, all of those are pages. Now, WordPress being a blogging platform, and when you've set up posts, you can include and allow users to comment on things, which is where you will come in and you notice that there's options for users to comment. So here, this is where you would come in to manage those comments. You would be either approving those comments or trashing them or marking them as spam. Do realize with comments comes the risk of many spam comments. So you need to be on top of that. Typically, by installing a few plugins, we can be on top of those things. The next menu item you'll notice is appearance. Again, if you hover over appearance, you'll notice that you get further sub items. You'll be managing your themes, you'll be customizing your theme, you'll be adding widgets, and we'll talk about widgets. You'll be managing your menus. And since I've installed a few plugins, I'm seeing other options like being able to add styles, because this, as a developer, I tend to use the WordPress theme, and on top of that WordPress theme, I like to add more styling options to make it look exactly the way you want. So you may not need to include CSS at all, personally, in which case you don't need to install this plugin at all. And I also like to use WordPress and WordPress elements to develop the sites. We'll dig into that a bit later, but they're not typical WordPress installations, so we'll skip them until much later in the training program. You also have the option to edit the theme directly. I would highly recommend that you don't do that. If you are going to do that, and if your developer is doing this is a no-go. You shouldn't be directly editing themes or directly editing plugins. You should be creating a child theme and editing that, and rather than use these, I would probably recommend that they go through your site hosting provider, which provides something known as a file transfer protocol, which allows them to share and update files quite easily. That would be a better approach than editing things directly, because you can crash the whole site doing it this way. On top of appearance, the next option you'll notice is plugins. Now, WordPress by itself is a wonderful platform for creating websites, but sometimes you go, I need to go beyond. For example, you want to convert your website and provide the ability for people to contact you using a contact form. You would go in here and install a plugin for a contact form. We'll do that as part of this process. You could say my WordPress powered site, I want to sell some items. I want to sell a few things online, in which case you'll set up another plugin called WooCommerce, or there are plenty of e-commerce plugins out there. You would install one of those plugins and configure them to make this additional functionality and make WordPress do more than what it is normally capable of. And that is the power of WordPress. There's like something like 55,000 plugins that can take your site and provide that punch that can make it do something it's not by default doing. After plugins, the next thing you will notice is your users. Now, by default, every WordPress installation allows you to manage multiple users with multiple profiles and multiple roles, right? Typical user, once you've installed and once you've signed in, you can edit your own profile. But if you are the administrator, if you've been given that role, you can edit profiles and you can go in and create users and manage users through this users administration menu. We will dig into that a little bit later as well. The next menu option is tools. This is where you can export and import and complete WordPress websites. Look at the site health. This is a wonderful section for your developer to be able to move your WordPress website from your local installation to your production database or to the server. So this is where these tools will come in handy. There are some plugins that make this process quite easy as well. The next menu option is settings, and you will notice that as we go through, it is important that you set this up properly. These settings are critical, and several plugins will have links that several plugins will install their own links. For example, I'm seeing that there's a disable comments. I'm using a plugin for that, and the reason I'm doing that is sometimes I'd like to disable comments completely. To avoid spam and other details. If you're not getting the benefit of social commentary using comment system, then I would suggest you just disable it completely. I tend to enjoy comments, and I don't mind some of the spam comments that come through and cleaning them up regularly. But if you find comments upsetting, then you might as well remove them completely using a plugin. And this is like a typical menu. So with more plugins, you will see more menu items. And if you don't want to see this menu item, this menu on the left-hand side, you can click collapse menu to reduce its size, but still have the option to navigate to those menus. This is a better way compared to just completely hiding the left-hand menu, that you reduce the menu so that there's more space for you to write your posts or write your pages. So this is the menu on the left. Let's also have a quick look at any time when you're creating or at any time when you're looking at the WordPress dashboard, the backend, you'll notice that the version is clearly available. If you are asking questions in the forum or anywhere, you need to know which version of WordPress you're talking about, and it's good to know that version by having a quick look at this. The The top toolbar comes in very handy when you're creating your posts and pages, because it provides a quick way for you to just add a post, add a page, or add a user. So, or go directly to your media and upload a document or things like that. You can even manage your comments directly from here, but I typically use this top toolbar to add posts and pages. More importantly, it provides a way for you to, once you're logged into the backend, if you go to the front end and you're thinking, I want to edit this about page, right? You don't need to go into the backend. You can just go into that about page. And when you click edit page, you can then edit that page. Similarly, I can go into the services page and I can edit that page. So you'll notice I'm being taken directly to edit the services page. So this is an easy approach. Once I've edited it, I can click on view page to actually see the changes that I've made. So that's a quick look at the WordPress dashboard or the backend. We've looked at how to log in. We've looked at the top toolbar. We looked at the left-hand menu and the dashboard as a whole. But as we progress through this course, we'll dive deeper into each aspect of the backend.